Well, it's noon here in Bethesda, Maryland, and 9 a.m. wherever the hell Zach is today. And this is Thursday, November 3rd, with news that you can use from YAA with your hosts, Zach and Ray. Zach, where exactly are you today?
I am at the Federal Reserve, Dad. You should not be surprised because yesterday, Mr. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair himself, increased the federal funds rate by 75 bips. Dad, that's basis points, but people call
Yeah.
it bips, I think. I don't know. Anyway, 75 basis points, huge implications for the entire economy, but we're going to focus on what implications and impacts that will have here in automotive. And then, Dad, Stellantis. You know
Yes.
what? The lost automotive continent of Stellantis, they are determined, Dad, to have everything go back to the good old days. They want to produce as many cars as possible, incentivize them like crazy, sell them at invoice price. And you know what? I think they might just keep the auto industry stuck in their backwards ways. So we're going to talk about that. And BMW doing some interesting things as they move into the EV market. And I've got you've got to be kidding me that I haven't shared with you yet that I know will get you riled up. So you got to stay with us until about 25 minutes past the top of the hour here. I sense that red or that white pit sweatshirt is going to look especially bright when your face turns tomato red.
Well, I the only reason I wore this today is, well, I'm getting a shave and a haircut, and I wanted to make it as easy as possible for my barber, so that he didn't have to deal with any collars. Yeah,
You look good. I just
I
zoomed in on you. You look nice.
yeah, well, I try my best to think of things that'll make it easier for everybody, including and Sydney Scissorhands, uh, and I'll let
Let's
him go to work shortly.
Let's kick things off, Dad. So the big news, obviously, that we were just alluding to: Fed hikes interest rates again by 75 basis points. Hints at entering end phase. The unanimous decision lifts the target for the benchmark federal funds rate to a range of 3.75% to 4%, its highest level since 2008. Dad, run us through. Give us the high level here. What does this mean? And then let's talk about the implications already and what we're seeing in the auto sector.
Well, all it means, folks, all it means is anything that you finance, anything that you take out a loan on, whether it be a personal loan, whether it be an unsecured loan, whether it be credit cards, whether it be that auto loan or that mortgage on that new house you want to buy. Well, rates are going up, folks. It's just that simple. Your interest rates are going to be higher than what you have seen in probably 15 years. And for many people, it will be shocking. I know your sister, my daughter, and her husband bought their house a couple years ago, and the rate they got on their mortgage was like 2.5%. They will they will never sell their house, at least in the near term, so that they could go out and buy a different house with a mortgage rate of somewhere between 7.5 and probably 8%. So anybody that's in a 15, 20, 30-year mortgage that they got when rates were 3.5, 2.5%, they ain't selling their house. People aren't going to be able to buy houses because, well, those monthly payments that you have to make are just going to be higher than what was uh, affordable just, I don't know, a year ago.
Let me put this into context, Dad. Edmunds has an incredible map on their website. October car loan rates, the APRs for used and new cars broken down by state. So yeah, mortgages, completely agree with you. Dara, Zach, they're
Yes.
very set. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to refinance, whatever. Dad,
No.
look at the APRs on used cars nationwide. Average APR on used cars nationwide. You're in New
Make it
Mexico
bigger.
on average.
Make it bigger so I can see. There you holy. Oh my God. I am so glad I'm not in New Mexico at the moment. Or or is that Louisiana down there?
Yeah,
Oh
look at
my
this, Dad.
God.
Mississippi here, you've got 13.28%.
Is that
Louisiana,
Mississippi or is that
10.4.
Louisiana?
Is this Alabama?
No, the one
One of
next
these
to
is
it's Alabama.
Alabama. That's Alabama.
No.
Yeah, this is
Oh yeah,
Mississippi.
that's
This is
Alabama.
Louisiana.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's Alabama. Next to that would be Mississippi. Oh my God.
Dad, I mean, this just puts into context for used vehicles. Again, on average in these different states, what folks are paying. And it's going up. I think actually if I scroll down right here, yeah, the monthly change in interest rates back in May nationwide, the average APR was 8.2%. We are now at 9.6%. The average interest rate on a used vehicle. New vehicles was was at 5.1% up to 6.3%. This is the type of stuff, Dad. When the Fed initially started raising interest rates, I remember reading a Cox Automotive piece that said, "Well, we haven't actually seen the increase in auto interest rates quite yet. Like more significant movement on mortgages, but we haven't seen it
Yes.
in automotive. We have now seen it in automotive. It is significantly more expensive to finance a purchase today than it was yesterday, and will continue to be over the next couple of months. That being said, Dad, this is a perfect excuse for finance managers to stick you with a crazy interest rate. And it is more important than ever before to go get pre-qualified before you walk into a dealership to purchase a vehicle. And heck, you can still even refinance in this high rate environment and save money as long as you work directly with a credit union, or, you don't get, you just got to go directly to the source, I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
It's it's just the whole thing is just going to be much more difficult for the vast majority of people out there. And if the if the Fed's intention was to slow down consumer spending on big ticket items, and I believe that automobiles are really big ticket items these days, then their wish is going to come true. We already see it. We've seen the number of loan applications decline. We've seen the number of loans decline, that are loan originations decline. Um, yeah, the banks are financing more money than they have, but they're financing more money on fewer loans because the average amount financed is higher than it's ever been, and it's continuing to go up. Um, and this will once again, through the Fed's actions, widen the chasm between those who can actually afford to buy cars and those who can't. And so the the pie that dealerships are trying to get their little slice out of is getting smaller and smaller because there's fewer and fewer qualified customers out there looking to buy cars.
The idea that the Federal Reserve has reset the auto market, I think, is super valid, and it's especially true, Dad. The market's being reset in a way that is making it more difficult for those who don't have incredible affluence to purchase a vehicle. We've talked on this channel a lot, excuse me, about vehicle payments over $1,000. Well, Edmunds
Mhm.
also puts out this data, Dad, mapping the percentage of buyers in particular states that are paying over $1,000 a month. That's Montana? Is that Montana? Is that Montana? So what's below
I don't
Montana? We got Idaho, Montana. What's below Wyoming? Is that Wyoming? That's
could be,
Wyoming,
yeah,
Dad.
might be, yeah.
Wyoming's got 25 points. Over a quarter of the folks in Wyoming, Dad, are paying over $1,000 a month on their car payment, almost 21% in Texas. You know what that says to me? Trucks, man. Truck prices. They must be crazy high, and those interest rates must be crazy good for the financial institutions. We are
Well,
seeing folks get priced out of the market.
Well, if you're in Wyoming, and there's a lot of ranchers in Wyoming, and you're going to need those big ass trucks with the big ass truck payment. It's just that simple. And in Texas, whether you need a truck or not, I believe it might be a state law that you have to drive one. I'm not 100% certain on that. Um, and I believe the state law also has to be that if you live in Texas, not only do you have to drive a truck, but you have to drive a truck that you can't afford. So that's
Okay.
why you see such a high percentage of people in Texas with car payments in excess of $1,000 a month.
Dad. What's the best credit union to go for financing a new car and, let's say, truck? And let's say in Texas, we just launched with our
Yes.
Texas credit union partner, EECU, today. So if you're in the state of Texas, we are now live with financing and refinancing in the state of Texas. Let me pull it up on the screen, Dad. Just go to joinyaa.com. We will be adding finance as a page up here at the top soon. But in the meantime, just click on finance or refinance, depending on what you want to do. Scroll through this list and find Texas. Click get pre-approved. And there you go. You're now starting the application process entirely online. No spam calls, no BS. It takes just a couple minutes. Honestly, you can do it in about 60 seconds. You are now starting an application with EECU through our partnership with them, which means you're going to get buy rate. You're going to get the best possible interest rate they have to offer. No markup from us, Dad. Live in Texas. Now we're in Texas, Florida, Alabama. It's one at a time, man, but we're getting there. Later this week, I think we'll have all 50 states except for Hawaii online. Pretty great.
That is pretty great. That's pretty amazing. The things that you're putting together that are designed to save consumers money when it comes to buying, uh, insuring, maintaining, financing their cars is just, it's pretty impressive when you think about it. So kudos to you for all the hard work you put into making that happen. But um, if rates continue the way they're going, you know, even we're going to appeal to less and less people because there'll be less and less people in the market. Um,
Yeah, but let's demonstrate why credit unions are so powerful. I see the comment in the chat from Jerry. What's buy rate right now? Well, buy rate depends on the financial institution. And
yes,
one of the things I like about credit unions that just go on their websites. So I'm on
yes,
EECU's website right now. You can get as low as 4.5% on a used car, 4.14% from EECU right now on a new car, and they break it all down right here. 36 months. This is on a relatively new used vehicle. You can get as low as 4.14%, Dad.
wow. And for 84 months, it's only 5.49% if you have the credit to back that up. Wow,
I mean, not
that's
bad.
pretty damn good.
And again, the thing that we're bringing to the table is we're connecting you to them. We've vetted EECU before we decide to work with them, and the process is super easy. It's online right there. You don't have to go into a branch or anything like that. So, so proud of this, Dad, and especially in a rising rate environment, this is what you need. You need to have outside pre-qualifications, because if you don't, you're just going to get hammered when you go into the dealership.
Yes, yes, because they're going to use all the information that's in the news these days to say, "Hey, look what the Fed did yesterday." You think that's not going to be reflected in your rate today, folks? Oh my God, we'd be lucky to get you 6.5% on that new car right now. And you know what? You'll probably be thanking us for it later. Yeah, either that or you'll be writing a bigger check than you should every month. Yeah.
All right, Dad, let's switch gears here for a second. I'm going to put you on the spot, and this is going to parlay us into the conversation about Stellantis. We had Toyota
Okay.
earnings come out this week, and we had Stellantis earnings come out this week. We are on far different ends of the spectrum when it comes to the two of them, Dad. I want you to guess. What do you think the average incentive amount for Toyota Corporation was? Lexus and Toyota combined. What do you think the average incentive amount
The
per
average
vehicle
was,
was?
I'm going to guess it was around $1,000.
It was. It was close to the average for Toyota and Lexus was $1,359 for the two brands combined. Now, on the
Okay.
Toyota side of things, Dad, the average was $670. The average incentive spend from Toyota on a vehicle,
On a
$670.
Toyota.
Flipping over
Yeah.
to Stellantis, Dad. What do you think the
Yes.
average Stellantis incentive was in the third quarter?
$3,500.
Well, for the Ram 1500, for Ram in general, it was $3,881 just for
Oh
Ram, to
my
give you some
goodness.
context here. What is going
Okay.
on at Stellantis, Dad? What happened in the third quarter, and why are they still incentivizing purchases of their vehicles so much?
Well, apparently they were able to navigate some of the supply chain issues better than other manufacturers, and they just kept manufacturing vehicles. And so dealer inventories were able to rise for the Stellantis brands across the board. And well, Stellantis has always had to incentivize the sales of their vehicles, and at $3,800 and 80 at $3,800 per Ram truck on average, that's probably about half of what it used to be. So they still think they're well ahead of the game. Um, but that's what's going on. They were able to build vehicles. They want to maintain or grow as much market share as they can. and so they're still incentivizing the sales of their vehicles, and their incentive levels are at the highest that there are in the industry at the moment, and not by a little bit, it's by a lot of bit.
Yeah, here, let's put it into context. Let me share my screen and let's spend a little bit of time walking back and forth between Toyota. So this is Toyota's incentive chart, okay, from 2017, Q3 of 2017 to Q3 of 2022. Pretty
Yeah.
obvious trend. There was a bit of an uptick in terms of
Yeah.
Lexus, but for Toyota, let's look at this blue line down here. There was a pretty steady decline.
Yes.
Now, Dad, look at the Stellantis chart.
Wow.
Look at just the y-axis for a moment here. Ram is the blue line. Ram incentives back in Q3 of 2019 were nearly $7,000. $7,000. They've come down, and then they've actually ticked back up. Ram incentives
Yes.
ticked back up year over year in the third quarter. So you can see here Stellantis is putting a lot more money towards people purchasing their vehicles. And Dad, that's like the old school thinking within the auto industries. We have to incentivize and incentivize and incentivize. And it seems like if one automaker chose to continue to have what I'll call the race to the bottom, and you used to sell
Uh-huh.
Audi, and you knew Audi did this terribly, right? The race to the bottom, just incentivize the crap out of these vehicles, then everyone else is still going to have to play that game, right? Like
Yes.
the idea that we're just going to lose out on incentives seems kind of far fetched because it just takes one automaker to start it out, start the game back over.
To a degree, and the thing with Audi is that consumer incentives weren't quite as strong as some other manufacturers, but the dealer incentives from
Yeah.
Audi to hit your sales objectives were so incredibly high. Their whole thought at Audi was whatever profit you're going to make, you're not going to make it off of the customer. You're going to make it off of Audi. They incentivize the dealers so much to cheap sell their vehicles, uh, so that they could then attain the sales objective to get paid from Audi. For instance, when I was still with Audi in our area, the average gross profit on a Q3 at that time was
Hmm.
$1,000 below invoice. Okay, so take the invoice price and subtract $1,000, and that's what the in our market, that's what the average transaction price represented for a Q3. Now,
Wow.
as I said to customers when I would sell them those cars at $1,000 below invoice, I said the only reason we can do this is because Audi is paying us to do it. Okay, we hit our sales objective. They give us a big check. Suddenly, that $1,000 negative might turn into $1,000 positive, and so that's how we. So they forced dealers to cheap sell the products, to cheapen the products by
Yeah.
selling them below invoice, um, because they they wanted they wanted to be the ones that allowed the dealers to make a profit.
What do you think's gonna happen, Dad? And I know that's a very open-ended question, but we are in an environment where consumer demand is slowing down. We started today's show off by talking about how there's this growing chasm of those who can afford to buy vehicles and
Yes,
those who cannot. And as interest rates continue to go up and auto loan APRs continue to go up, you're going to continue to have a decrease in demand. Now, we've
yes,
seen new car inventories begin to tick back up, not to where they were when you were in the business 4 years ago.
no,
I mean, we are far from where we used to be in terms of inventory, but inventory levels are, like for GM, for example, in the third quarter, triple what they were this
yeah,
time last year. And we still see one holdout, humongous automaker, Stellantis, continuing to Audi their brand a little bit, just incentivize the crap out of
yes.
it. Are we, I hate to say this, Dad, but are we like 6 months away from Toyotathon every single month and incentives again because demand's not there and supplies built back up? Like it seems like we could be. It really does.
I think it really all depends on the supply chain issues. And I don't think the issues are as much chip related today as they are to other supply chain issues, other parts issues, that the parts manufacturers are having a hard time producing what the auto manufacturers need to build their vehicles. Um, so if some of these supply chain issues get fixed, and manufacturers are then in a position to build more cars again. And we all understand that they're not going to allow it to go back to the pre-pandemic levels, where in the United States on-hand dealer inventory was usually somewhere between 3.5 million and 4 million vehicles. But if they allow it to get back to 2 million, 2.25 million vehicles in dealer inventory, if that were to happen, then yes, I think that we will see incentives. Will we see incentives as large as what we have seen in the past? I don't know that they'll ever be that large again. And part of it's going to depend on how much the market shrinks, because we're seeing, not to quote a line from Seinfeld, but we're seeing shrinkage
Oh
in the
yeah.
car market. We're seeing less or fewer people that are actually in the market to buy a car, because there's fewer people that can actually afford to be in the market to buy a car. So if that continues, um, and manufacturers are suddenly building more cars, then I think we will see the return of incentives, because even though the pie will be smaller, those manufacturers are still going to want to protect their size of the slice of that pie.
Just a reminder, we keep track of incentives. If you work with us one-on-one, if you become a YAA Plus member, our coaches will work with you. And also Justin, back on the join YAA.com/guides page, updates each month the finance incentives, lease incentives, cash incentives, everything there in one place for you. So go check those out. Dad, one more piece of trivia, and then I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about Really You've Got to Be Kidding Me. Dad, what do you think? And to the chat as well, what do you think the average transaction price was for a new Toyota last quarter?
Last quarter,
Last quarter, Q3.
I would guess that the average transaction price last quarter for Toyota was, and this is strictly a guess, but I'm guessing it's approaching about $42,000.
All right, for the first time, well, let's give the chat here just a moment. Let's see if there are any guesses that come in from the chat. And again, Dad, I think this really, you got to be kidding me. Although it's not like super substantive, I think it's gonna really irk you. And wow, Jay Welk right here, 40,000. Dad, for the first time ever,
Yeah,
Toyota's average transaction price passed $40,000. It stood at $40,635. The reliable economy brand is now a $40,000 plus brand. Ah, man, pretty
may I
wild to think.
say that Toyota hasn't been a reliable economy brand for years and years and years. And what I mean by that is, yes, they have been a reliable brand, but they haven't been an economy brand in quite some time. The
Yeah.
asking prices for all their cars has gone up significantly over the course of time. Um, and their popularity is what has allowed them to do that. The same as that's what allows Apple to do what they do with their pricing, where they price their stuff higher than everybody else, because there's just such brand loyalty.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine that the average transaction price is closer to $41,000 than it is to $35,000. It's You'd be hard pressed today to find a Corolla, probably under 25,000. Maybe they don't even
Yeah. No.
start at
Yeah.
$25,000 anymore. And
Yeah.
when they allocate chips, they allocate the chips to their more expensive, higher profit margin vehicles. So that's where that's what's killing pricing.
Dad, average transaction price for the Tundra year over year up 21%. For the Corolla, up 8%. Let me put you on the spot again, and everyone in the chat too. What do you think the average transaction price? It increased, I will say, significantly, more than 10% year over year for Stellantis was in the third quarter, Dad. The average transaction price for Stellantis, not an economy brand. And remember, they've got Jeep, they've got Ram, they've got
Yeah.
Chrysler, they've got Alpha, they've got one Fiat maybe that sold during the quarter. What do you think the average transaction price was over there?
It's over 50 grand.
Yeah, it's
It's in the
definitely
low
over 50
50s.
grand. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Well,
would think
honestly, it's
about
not in the low 50s, Dad.
excuse me? What is it?
The average transaction price at Stellantis last quarter was $54,808. I don't know where you come from, Pops. Well, you come from Philadelphia. We're rounding
Yeah,
that up, man. That's $55,000 is the average transaction price
yeah,
for a new Stellantis product.
yeah. And in Philadelphia, we would be saying, "What are you nuts?" Oh
Seriously.
my God!
It's
Yeah.
insane, isn't it?
Uh, i- i- yes, yeah. There was a weight loss young lady, exercise guru, Susan Powter, and her big claim was stop the insanity. Well, Chrysler, Stellantis, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, stop the insanity. Oh my God!
Wait. Let's just hammer this home, and then I promise you we'll switch gears, Dad. What do you think the average transaction price was in Q3 of 2017? 5 years ago. Okay, we know there's inflation, but what do you think it was 5 years ago? And then I'm going to tell you
Thirty-nine
Rams average
thousand
trend.
dollars.
It was
$39,000.
$37,800.
That's so it's gone up, it's only gone up 17 grand in 5 years as an average.
Average transaction price on the Ram is north of $60,000. All right, I'm going to press the
Now,
button. We're
now
going to
wait,
switch gears.
wait 1 second, Zach. So so if the average transaction price of Stellantis products has gone up $17,000 in 5 years, do you think for a second that the average earnings amount for people over that same 5 years has gone up the same $17,000? I do not.
No, you know the answer. We both, unfortunately,
Yes.
know that answer.
Really? You
You've
got to
got to
be
be kidding
kidding
me.
me.
All right, Dad, this one's not that wordy. We could watch the video, but we don't need to. I just kind of want to, put you on your pedestal here for a moment. Coming out of the great state of Florida, we have a woman. Get out of here. We have a woman. I clicked dismiss. All right, it's not going to let me dismiss it, Dad. Doesn't really matter, Dad. Christy Smith told Action News of Jacksonville that it was only after she paid $22,999 to a company called Vroom, plus taxes and fees, for a used 2017 Ford Escape in December that she learned there was a lien on it.
Not her lien,
just gonna
somebody else's lien.
I'm just gonna exit the stage to the left
Yeah.
and give you the floor for this
It-
one. Vroom sold a car with a lien
Yeah.
on it.
Okay. You mean the one they forgot to satisfy? You mean they bought a car from somebody that and somebody they bought it from had financed it through some lending institution, and Vroom never bothered to make the payoff on that vehicle, but sold it anyway? Um, wow, wow. Between Vroom and Carvana and Shift and whatever other online, primarily online digital retailers are out there, do yourselves a favor, folks. Stay the hell away from them. Okay. Listen, I know that there's a vast majority of dealers out there that you don't trust, and in many cases with good reason. But damn, you could probably get more done with a dealer you don't trust than you can get done with some digital platform retailer that you can't even talk to anybody. It's just it's pure it's pure lunacy, in the sense that the one thing that we seem to have more of than perhaps maybe the rest of the world is lunacy. We are the proud possessor of the world's uh, most lunatic nation in the way that we want to try and buy cars. You don't buy them online. You just don't buy them online, and you don't buy them from sources that have shown over and over and over again for years and years and years that they don't know what the hell they're doing. They can't title them. Apparently, they can't pay them off from whoever they bought them from. They can't seem to recondition them. They can't seem to, in many cases, tell the truth about them as far as condition is concerned. My God, just as bad as your local car dealers might be, you're better off dealing with a local car dealer than you are with some digital platform retailer that you can't get a hold of anybody. I'm done. I'm done, damn it. I'm done. I'm done with Vroom. I'm done with Carvana. I'm done with Shift. The hell with all those people.
Don't be done with Carvana. Their earnings, Dad, are this afternoon. All right, so we need to be ready to dig into those. I think that is the alarm bell of alarm bells that's about to go off later today.
Well, okay, so I'll rant on Carvana tomorrow, but I mean, really, we support your local businesses, whether you like them or you don't like them. Find the one that you can like and support your local businesses. You'll be better off.
All right, Dad. Speaking of local businesses, friendly reminder to everyone back at joinyaa.com. If you are going to
wait
buy
a second.
a car.
Wait a second. We're like a digital platform, but you can trust us. We do deliver.
If you're going to buy a car, start your car search here. We have all the listings in one place. If you're going to sell a car, let us help you get offers from multiple dealers. No spam, no BS. Pops, you mentioned it earlier in the show. We hooked up with the major insurance carriers. We've gotten some members-only rates on auto, home, and renters. Warranties. If you need an extended warranty or a tech or / electronics warranty on your vehicle, nothing's changed here. Still helping thousands of folks out that way. Finance and refinance, again, live in Alabama, Florida, and Texas. I think by tomorrow we should be in all 50 states except for Hawaii, so stay tuned for that. And the membership, Dad. Well over 1,000 people have joined YAA Plus, which is fantastic. They are saving money on maintenance and repairs, as well as getting help with all those finance needs, insurance needs. If they're buying or selling a car, it's the one-stop shop. And it is just the beginning of YAA Plus, Dad. We've got things that we're working on with car wash, parts delivery, tire changes, all that fun stuff and more. You will get members-only discounts, essentially building a little Costco for your car, group purchasing power for your car, Dad. So proud of what we're doing there. And the team behind the scenes, Dad, I cannot thank them enough this past week. So many new folks have joined, not the team per se, but new members have joined the community. And that team has been working their butt off to make sure that everyone's getting that incredible YAA service. So huge shout out to the team behind the scenes, making sure that everything runs smoothly, especially while I'm here at the Federal Reserve asking for them to lower those interest rates.
Yes, and teaching them all to wear T-shirts instead of dress shirts and ties. God bless you for that.
All right, Pops, we will be back tomorrow with Miss Kimberly Klein, and I think we're leading with the Carvana earnings. Whatever happens, we're leading with Carvana tomorrow, so you're going to want to tune in for that.
Absolutely. So we'll see you all back here tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. It'll be Friday, Kimberly's Corner. We want to thank you all for being here today, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.